2,000 kilograms of cocaine in Elizabeth on the weekend. 3 men have been detained, but it's understood they are still being questioned. The Maritime, Air and Cyber Command Unit of the Jamaica Defense Force, JDF, seized 2,544,000 kilos of cocaine after intercepting a vessel approximately 10 nautical miles southeast of Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth on Saturday. The cocaine is valued at 1.3 billion Jamaican dollars. The seizure occurred as the JDF patrolled the waters of Jamaica's south coast. During the operation, the JDF also seized 18 fuel drums, 1 go-fast vessel with 3 outboard engines, and drug paraphernalia. President of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, JCC, Emil Leiber, is supporting the announcement by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness to reduce the level by which the national minimum wage was due to increase in July this year. In making his contribution to the 2026-27 budget debate, Dr. Holness announced that the minimum wage will move from $16,000 to $17,000 for a 40-hour work week. In 2025, the Prime Minister announced the government's intention to raise the minimum wage to $18,500. So his announcement last Thursday saw $1,500 being shaved off what his original plan was for the rate below which it will be illegal to pay someone for a 40-hour work week. Leiber says the Prime Minister made the right call.
Well, we're listening closely to see if the minimum wage promises from last year would have been kept. So I'm happy to see that the Prime Minister decided to adjust in the context of where the economy is now post-Hurricane Melissa. Instead of the 2,500 more per week, it was 1,000 more per week, which I think is more manageable.
Meanwhile, Leiber says the JCC is hopeful the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, NARA, will play a key role in helping the economy rebound.
Insofar as the representations made at the budget debate, we're cautiously optimistic with the hope that it will both increase government efficiency, encourage economic growth, and of course help to grow or recover the GDP that we have lost.
Emil Leiber, president of the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce. Meanwhile, development economist Dr. Christian Stokes says he's optimistic NARA will have a positive impact.
So I think the first and most important thing would have come from the Prime Minister's presentation, in which he spoke about NARA and the extensive development that he intends to undertake in the next 4 years, which, if done, will be a significant fillip to economic development, to the growth in the economy, and setting the base for growth going forward. So I think that is a good thing. He also spoke extensively on the issue of productivity, which, if addressed, would also contribute to us growing in a meaningful way as we go into the future.
Meanwhile, Dr. Stokes believes the special consumption tax on non-alcoholic sugary drinks is regressive.
The tax being imposed on sugary drinks, the so-called sugary drinks, what that means, what's the effect that it will have on persons who earn less. It is a regressive tax, not only in the pocketbooks, but also, which is part of my hope, that it will have an impact on, over the long term, on the health of the community generally, which may be reflected in the medium to long term on the healthcare costs.
Dr. Christian Stokes, development economist. The National Water Commission, NWC, has announced that water restrictions are due to begin today in several corporate area communities. The restrictions are being implemented despite heavy recent rainfall. The NWC says the storage level at the Hermitage Dam has fallen to about 65%. Kimon Thompson tells us more.
The restrictions will take effect today, Monday, March 23. It will impact customers served by the Constant Spring water system. The NWC says the decision, though difficult, is necessary to ensure equitable distribution and maintain service continuity amid reduced inflows. Under the measure, affected communities have been divided into 2 zones, Upper and Lower Constant Spring. Water will be supplied on a 12-hour alternating schedule. Residents in the upper areas, including sections of Dehaney Park, Pembroke Hall, Red Hills Road, Meadowbrook, and Shortwood Road, will receive water at night time between 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. The lower areas, such as Halfway Tree, Waltham Park Road, Maxfield Avenue, and Crossroads, will be supplied throughout the day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Customers served by the Constant Spring system are advised to familiarize themselves with the schedule and adopt conservation measures, including storing water repairing leaks, installing water-saving devices, and using grey water where possible. The NWSC says the current measures are part of a broader water management response affecting approximately 133 supply systems across the island, which are typically vulnerable to drought conditions. It notes that while seasonal declines are expected, inflows this year are trending below levels recorded for the same period in 2025. The Commission says this reality required early intervention. Meanwhile, the Mona Reservoir, which supplies other sections of the corporate area, is about 85% capacity. No restrictions are planned just yet for communities served by the Mona facility. The NWSC says it will continue to monitor conditions across all systems and provide updates as necessary. The Commission says improved rainfall is not anticipated until the September to October period. Kimone Thompson for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Kimone. Motorists using Monroe Road in St. Andrew are being urged to brace for another round of traffic disruptions as major pipeline installation works get underway in the area. The National Water Commission (NWC) says the project gets underway today, Monday, March 23, as part of ongoing efforts to improve water and sewage infrastructure in the area. The work forms part of a $1.2 billion pipeline project. The project has been in progress since 2025. It's aimed at strengthening service delivery across several communities, including Old Hope Road, Retreat Avenue, Seymour Avenue, Seaview Avenue, Wellington Drive, and Monroe Road. Construction is set to start at the Monroe and Wellington traffic signal and move towards Canberra Crescent. This will be followed by a second phase extending from Canberra Crescent to Old Hope Road. Work activities are set between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays, with weekend operations possible to keep the project on schedule. Motorists are being warned that traffic restrictions will be implemented in phases. During the first phase, vehicular access along Monroe Road from the Wellington traffic signal to Canberra Crescent will be closed. In the second phase, access will be limited up to Canberra Crescent. There will also be restricted access from Old Hope Road North onto Monroe Road during working hours, although provisions will be made for residents and businesses in the area. Drivers are being encouraged to use Wellington Drive as an alternative to Mona Road. The National Water Commission is urging the public to exercise caution, follow posted signage, and comply with instructions from traffic personnel as the works progress. Corporate Communications Manager at Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, Chantal Thompson, says only a few drivers are involved in the ticket scam recently uncovered at the company.
What we're seeing is a reflection of strengthened oversight and accountability within the system. So these actions really don't reflect the majority of our drivers who continue to operate professionally and in the best interest of the community, of the commuters every day. What we want to really assure the public is that the system will remain reliable, and now more than ever we're actively monitoring, the system. We have cameras, we have our AVL set up, so we're actively, monitoring what's taking place in our bus.
According to the police, between February and March this year, the drivers collected fares from passengers but did not issue electronic receipts. The drivers who are now facing charges of embezzlement and failing to issue tickets to passengers are 47-year-old Keith Reed, otherwise called Miguel, of Landui in St. Thomas, 50-year-old Colleen Reynolds of Cumberland, Portmore in St. Catherine, 43-year-old LaShawnee Young of Waterford, Portmore in St. Catherine, and a 27-year-old Javon Hassock of Eltham Park, Spanish Town in St. Catherine. Thompson says the JUTC has been strengthening the monitoring on its buses.
What we want to really assure the public is that the system will remain reliable, and now more than ever we're actively monitoring, the system. We have cameras, we have our AVL set up, so we're actively, monitoring what's taking place in our bus. So, in fact, these developments demonstrate that we're not turning a blind eye. We are taking decisive action to protect the organization and the commuting, public. Our focus remains the same, which is always strengthening our system, improving transparency, and continuing to deliver efficient service across JUTC.
Chantal Thompson, Corporate Communications Manager at JUTC. Meanwhile, the JUTC is seeing an uptick in the number of students signing up to use the rural school bus service.
For the National Rural School Bus Program, we have seen a take-up in registration, and we have seen a take-up in students using their student transportation cards. what we are really pushing now is just for them to top up. Some of the students will use the card this week and then, next week they're not topping up. So we are launching a campaign that we're going to go into the schools that have low take-up, go in the community to help facilitate registration so that we can continue to push, the National Rural School Bus Program.
Chantal Thompson, Corporate Communications Manager at JUTC. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, has moved the multi-million-dollar fraud case involving medical doctor Chloe Duet from the St. Catherine Parish Court to the Supreme Court. The transfer was facilitated on Friday via a voluntary bill of indictment. A voluntary bill of indictment is a procedural mechanism allowing the DPP to bypass a preliminary examination in a lower court and move a case directly to the circuit court. It allows for faster prosecution of serious charges, often used when an accused was previously discharged, or to expedite cases. Duet and her co-accused Dwayne Pitter are facing multiple fraud-related charges following an alleged scheme involving several transactions at financial institutions across the island. The pair were charged under the Proceeds of Crime Act, the Forgery Act, and the Law Reform Fraudulent Transactions Special Provisions Act. Pitter remains in custody at the Halfway Tree lockup. The pair was charged following extensive investigation by the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Division, MOCA, and the Financial Investigations Division. Chairman of Carnival in Jamaica, Kamal Banke, is seeking to assure the public that a protocol is in place to clean up the streets of the corporate area after the Road March event on Sunday, April 12. The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, said it has been speaking with stakeholders to avoid the unsightly and unhygienic pileup of garbage throughout the city the morning after the Carnival festivities. Banke says organizers are committed to a clean city.
The exact same processes and procedures that were employed for the 2025 staging, meaning the collaborative meetings with the KSAMC and the mayor, and of course the other bodies and agencies on the local government, municipalities, so on and so forth. So NSWME, ODPEM, the JCF, who's on the national security, obviously from our side, Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Tourism, those meetings are ongoing. And, all of the considerations for what we did last year would be repeated this year to ensure that Kingston is left as it was before the Carnival week.
Meanwhile, Kamal Banke is confident the country will realize a windfall from Carnival 2026.
We had a late start to, or real ramp up to promote and market Carnival locally and internationally, because obviously the hurricane would have hit us smack dab in our launch season for Carnival, and the recovery efforts push back a lot of persons, marketing and sales efforts and stuff like that, way into 2026. But, because of what we would call the general demand for it, although late, we're bouncing back on all fronts. And I think everybody does recognize that with Carnival being such a huge economic driver, I think everybody feels that it is something that is good for us, meaning that the economic activity that will happen during that time will benefit everybody.
Kamal Banke, Chairman of Carnival in Jamaica. Investigations are continuing to ascertain the cause of a massive fire in Palmer's Park, St. Mary on Sunday that has left 9 adults and 6 children homeless. Assistant Commissioner for Area 2 of the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Julian Davis Buckle, told our news center the fire destroyed houses in a tenement yard.
The structure is a board structure. Yes, it's board and zinc roofing. Yes, and there's 4 houses in the yard, but only 2 were affected. Because when we got the call that 4 houses are on fire. But when we got there, actually, it's just 2 that were affected.
1 unit from Port Murray responded to the blaze, but found the situation overwhelming.
Okay, Port Maria responded initially at 10:43 was the time of call, and we responded, and upon arrival, they requested the assistance of Another Bay. 2 units, So once they got the call, and especially when they told them that it was 4 houses, they immediately asked Another Bay to respond also. So we had 2 units on the scene.
Julian Davis Buckler, Assistant Commissioner for Area 2 of the Jamaica Fire Brigade. Where the Fire Brigade is concerned, Area 2 comprises St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, and Portland. Overseas now, news just coming in. U.S. President Donald Trump has told international media, he's written on social media, that talks have been held with with Iranian officials to engineer a ceasefire to the current hostilities in the Middle East. So Donald Trump has posted on social media that talks have been held about a cease to hostilities in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Iran's Defense Council has threatened to lay sea mines to block the entire Gulf if Iran's coasts or islands are attacked. That's according to the Fars news agency. Iran has reportedly said any attempt by the enemy to attack its coasts or islands will cause all access routes and communication lines in the Persian Gulf and the coasts to be mined with various types of naval mines, including floating mines that can be released from the coasts. Iran has permitted some friendly countries, including China, India, Pakistan, to secure safe passage of their ships through the Straits of Hormuz, but it has effectively closed it down for others by attacking ships and reportedly laying mines in the waterway, causing a major crisis in global energy markets. The U.S. is reportedly considering plans to occupy or blockade Iran's strategically crucial Karg Island to ensure Iran reopens the vital waterway in what would mark a huge escalation in the U.S.-Israel-Iran war. The pilot and co-pilot of an Air Canada regional jet were killed late on Sunday when their plane struck a fire truck on a runway while landing at New York's LaGuardia Airport. The collision crushed the nose of the aircraft. Around 40 passengers and the crew were taken to hospital, some with serious injuries. 2 Port Authority employees who were traveling in the fire truck also suffered injuries. Most have since been released for treatment. Most of those injured have since been released from treatment. LaGuardia will remain closed until at least 2 p.m. on this Monday afternoon to facilitate the investigation. That's the news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. Safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:19.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Outaris, 34 Slide Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 24 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 20 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Gee, you know say Mike no come.
Hold on.
No, sir. That sound like consumption.
What that?
Tuberculosis, aka TB.
Now all time something like that. After nobody not get that again.
So you think TB still about?
If you have a cough for more than 2 weeks with fever, night sweats, and weight loss, go to your doctor or health center and get tested now. Let's be vigilant and stop the spread of TB infections. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Looking for a partner on your financial journey? Look no further. JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union Limited offers attractive loan specials and easy savings plans. Plus, becoming a member is simple. If you're over the age of 16 and want to join a credit union that truly cares about your financial wellness, you may be eligible for membership. Conditions apply. Call or visit us at www.jpscu.com to find out more and start building your future today. JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union Limited, your financial partner for life.
Ready to upgrade your drive? Hyundai and Scotiabank are making it easier for you. Right now, you can drive away in a brand new Hyundai with an interest rate as low as 4.99%. Low interest rate, zero processing fees, and 1 year free insurance with Scope Protect. Whether the compact Hyundai Venue, the bold Palisade, the stylish Tucson, or the dynamic Creta, Hyundai has the perfect vehicle waiting for you. So visit our showrooms at 7 Oxford Road, Kingston, or Providence Drive, Montego Bay, and get behind the wheel of a brand new Hyundai. Hyundai Jamaica. Because of you, conditions apply.
Time now for Street Smarts 2 with Ludlow McLean. Good morning, Ludlow.
Morning to George. Morning again to our listeners and all the conference from the want to say it's a pretty challenging morning. And those of you who are thinking going up to the Ligonier area, if you're on Hope Road, it's going to be a bumper traffic, especially the one